Hi guys, it's Amy with Aim to Plan, and today I have a little bit of an interesting video. I'm trying to break down my reading planner. So it is time. I am going to call it quits on my reading planner, and just I have not been good about keeping up with it, and I don't anticipate that I will be picking back up for the rest of 2024, and so I need to just kind of figure out what to do with this. And so this video is really just me talking about what I do with my pages and how I store and how I do things with the pages that I've used and what I do with unused pages. So it's kind of be just me talking about what happens after the fact, after the pen, after pages are used. So one of the first things that I wanted to mention before we get started is, in case there are any noise, I do have kids at home with me. It is summer break, so apologies if there's any noise in the background. The kids are having fun, which I love, but they can make a lot of noise. So that's the first thing. But in terms of talking about the process that I have here, one of the first things that I really have to ask myself is where I want to store things. So I guess like my big question is for you, do you store your news pages by type or by planner? So you can see here that I've already taken off the discs just because I kind of like started this process, and then I was like, let me go ahead and record a video related to this. But this planner right now is all like together, okay? And so, sometimes like, especially for me as a Franken planner, you can definitely have these pages, and then like in January, February, March, you use it for one purpose, and then you decide in April or in July that the planner is going to serve a different purpose. You'll use it for a different category or just for something completely different. So of course I was using this for my reading planner, but now that it's July and I'm not going to be using it for my reading planner, I've decided to use July through December for a completely different purpose. I'm going to be putting together some like personal growth pages, and so I want to use the second half for that purpose. So for me, I like to organize my pages by type. So if it's going to be a reading planner, then it will be a reading section and I will put the reading pages together. But if I switch to a completely different layout for my reading planner, those completely different pages will go together with my reading planner. So I don't store things by planner. So even if like for this, it'll be serving at least two different purposes, I don't, at the end of using these pages, I don't put them back together into like this Bridgerton planner. So as soon as I get a planner, it basically becomes a type. I'm going to use it for a particular purpose, and then all the pages that I use for that purpose will end up together. And I know some people do it differently, where even if you switch purposes for this planner, you'll end up putting the pages back together, and that makes sense if you use an entire planner. I just tend to never use a planner all the way through, and so it's, for me at least, easier to store it by purpose. So with that being said, what I'm going to do is actually go through this. I brought this here, and I'll go ahead and show it to you. It's my fun planner, and what I've decided to do is just go ahead and create a new section in here. It's kind of falling apart and my kids are screaming in the background. I don't know if you can hear them, but what I'm going to do is create a section in here that is just for my reading notes, and I'm just going to add them in here. And so what I'm going to do is set that to the side. And then I've got this planner here. Just like I said, the pages are all together. I just took them off the discs. And so I've got, of course, the cover and the two covers. Now that I'm breaking down this planner, I'm going to store this with the rest of my covers. And then the hello pages, all of these pages, for right now, let me actually flip through all of it. Okay, so for right now, you can see it's like these pages are unused, these first couple of pages. All right. And so I'm going to start, oops. I'm going to put that right there. I'm going to start a pile of unused pages. That's going to kind of be right there. Right, and then I have these pages right here. This is a bookshelf. It's a printable that I got off Etsy, and I will try to remember to link that. But these pages are my printables, and so I'm going to keep these pages together. These pages. This is all going to, right now, end up in my reading section in that fun binder. And you will notice as I was flipping through it that there are blank pages. I printed it one-sided, but then I punched it kind of like opposite ways, and I was going to, the plan was to kind of like tape them together so that way it's two-sided but printed on two separate sheets of paper. I never did that, so whatever. And then this page is the rest of the yearly calendar, but I did write on it, so I'm going to put this into the used pile. All right, so unused, used reading pages. Right, and then I have dividers. Dividers, when I break down a planner like this, I break it down by discs, by the cover. Dividers go separately, so all those three things are separate. And then I have unused pages. So those are the four things that I kind of pull together and put into storage for other use. So again, covers, discs, dividers, and unused pages. The unused pages I put into a separate storage system, basically my archive. And so let's go through the rest of this fairly quickly. See, these pages are unused. Hopefully you can see this. I don't have enough room on my desk to be able to do all this. Right, so this page you can see is used. I did tape that one down. Right, this page is used as well. So I didn't use most of January. All right, here's a divider. I didn't use that divider. If it's a used divider, I will put it in here as well, but these are unused dividers. Right, I did write on this. You can see here, so that's there. It was meant to be taped down to this page, but since it's not taped down and that's unused, I'll put that there. Right, and then I did write on that. And there's literally one sticker there, but I'm gonna go ahead and put it into the used pile. And if at some point I clean out my archive, like my reference books, and decide that I need extra pages for whatever reason, I will go in and pull out that one sticker, but I also have tons of pages, so I don't necessarily have to do that. Right, then here, this is a printable, and so you can see it's unused. What do I do with these? Well, I can of course put it in the unused pages, but these are unused Happy Planner pages or like weekly pages. This is a printable, so I'm just going to set it. I'm going to start a new pile here. I'm running out of room. All right, so this is again unused, and all of March I didn't use it, I'm pretty sure, so that will be all unused. And I'm just going to do this all the way until basically June. All right, and then here these are unused. Right, I basically only used it for 2 months. Right, so there's these pages, and then again these are unused pages, so I'm sticking those there. And then here, these are these unused pages. All right, and then these are again unused pages. All right, and now we're in July. Now for July, I'm going to set this to the side because right now what I'm thinking is I'm going to kind of restart this planner for a different purpose. I'm going to be using it for, like I said, personal growth, and like just like it's going to be kind of reading, so I'll be reading like self-help books, but also like volunteer activities, civic engagement activities, leadership programs that I'm like just kind of, I've decided to join a couple of things, and so I'm tracking like the events and the I guess obligations that I have for those things. So I will use that for that purpose. But I also know that you see these pages I kind of tucked in here, so I will pull these pages out. So for July, August, September, I did try to set this up to where it followed the same pattern, where this page was kind of stuck in the monthly spread, right? And I might have missed one or two, but now it's mostly cleared out. Okay, so now this is unused current pages. I'm going to set this to the side again. I'm going to create basically a brand new planner with these dividers. With these pages and dividers to be able to use for my personal growth. Then I ended up with these pages. Now, usually I would just kind of maybe toss it, but I don't like wasting paper. I really don't. So what I'm going to do with these is, because they're unused and because, they have been printed out and I want to use them at some point, I can stick it right here. I like to kind of put, actually I'm going to put it in the back. I like to kind of keep my, I guess like my current system together. And so this is really right now it for my reading section. And so I don't know, maybe I should put it in the front, so maybe I will pick it back up and I can kind of write it here. I think I'll put it in the front. Okay, and so then what I do is get here and I'll add it basically to the front. Again, like when it's in these books or really any planner, I like to have my planner pages at the very front. So any pages that I've already used, like all of these are like used, I'm not referencing them. I do want them to keep them long-term for reference, but I don't want to have it like where I flip through it. So what I do is basically put the pages that I'm currently using in the very front. So like maybe a better example is like with an actual planner. So with an actual planner, right now we're in July, I will put January through June in the very back for most of my planners. For some, it's just a little bit more complicated to do that, so I don't worry so much about it. But for most of my planners, since it's in July, all the previous years, I moved to the very back. And so when I open up the cover, the very first month that's there after like the hello pages and that type of stuff is going to be my July divider, right? And then it'll go July through December, and then after December is January through June. So I don't know, I just like doing that, and it's one of the benefits of the discbound is that I can kind of like have right at the very front the month or the pages that I'm using, and so once I use this page, I'll just move it to the back, right? And then I'll use the next page and I'll move it to the back, right? And so like right here, this is for February, I'm pretty sure. And so this is supposed to be March, or now if I skip to March, April, May, June, I'll go to July and it will just be the very first thing that I see. So hopefully that makes sense. All the older pages are in the back. So that is set up. And now, like I said, I've basically broken it down. I've already taken the discs off, but that's already been put into storage with the rest of my discs. I now have the cover, which I will put with the rest of my covers. I have dividers, which I'll put with the rest of my dividers. And then this is how I end up with all of these random pages. I will put this into a stack of, random unused pages. And so some of these pages, let me just show you a little bit earlier. Like, so in February, for example, I did use a couple of pages in February, but then I also didn't use like maybe 2 or 3 weeks worth. And so it's kind of like half of a month. And so for me, at least, I just kind of stick it into a pile, and I'll end up sorting it out and maybe organizing it a little bit better later. But for the most part, I just kind of stick it in a pile, and then I'm able to, whenever I'm like, okay, I need a dashboard page, I can pull it and use it for that purpose. And also, just quick way of doing it, because these are just like the monthly pages now, I can also, because I'm starting this planner, I can very simply take these old pages, stick them right here in the back, and now I have a partially current planner and then the partially outdated planner. So that's just some of the ways that I do it. I do like to, for me at least, like to keep the planner together if at all possible. So these pages, if I can try to use it down, I am more than willing to redate it, and so I will keep it together like this, minus the dividers. The dividers to me are a signal that these pages are outdated. If I know that they're outdated, I'll just end up putting the dividers back in. It's totally fine for me to redate monthly and weekly pages. But I also like to just kind of know that these pages are outdated, and so I remove the dividers. So that's the way that it makes sense to me. And now I've got it set up to where I can come back in and start, just like it says, right here at the very front, with July being the very first month, and I can just open it up and get all my things done. And for this personal growth planner, I just don't think that I'm going to need like the weekly pages, so it'll end up being where I think I'm just using the monthly, and so we'll see how that goes, because it's going to be just the monthly and like note papers and like notes to myself. I again don't know if I need all of this, and it might be where I do need it, but not like a full dashboard like this. So I might pull a simply layout where it's just like the dashboard this side on both sides of the page. So we'll see. But again, it's something where, for me at least, that my planner system evolves, and I like being able to break it apart. And because I'm breaking it apart, really think about how I'm using it, what I'm using it for, and really considering my needs and adapting the planners to myself. And as I always mention when I talk about repeating planning and outdated planners, things like that, I really enjoy redating, so that is not a problem for me. I know some people don't like it, so of course, if you don't like redating, I would not encourage you to keep the unused pages, just because it's going to be more of a hassle for you, but I don't mind it. So I always like to keep it and try to use it, so that way I'm not wasting any of the things that I've paid my good money for. So anyway, like I said, this video was really just kind of showing you how I break things down and where I put things. Most of my stuff, I do, like for most of my functional planners, I do just toss it, but I've decided to try to at least keep some of my personal planners for about 6 months or a year. And so I will eventually, for the reading section in my home binder, in this fun binder, I'll eventually go through and clean it out and purge some of the pages, especially when it starts getting full. But this particular planner is not super stuffed yet, so I feel fine keeping it for a little while. But when it starts getting full, I'll go back through and purge it, and it'll probably be the reading pages, because who needs to keep that long term? No one wants that, or I don't at least. I shouldn't say no one, but I don't really need to keep reference notes from reading and like the books that I've read for long term. So anyway, I feel like it was a fairly straightforward video, but I at least wanted to talk out loud what my process was for breaking down the planner. And I now have these pages to use. Again, these are the outdated pages and outdated dividers, but I have these pages July through December to use for a brand new planner. And now that I'm looking at this, I'll probably just keep it together just for simplicity's sake. I'll just leave just these pages just like this, and then put these dividers and covers that are outdated with the rest of my storage. And so now I have a current planner with some outdated pages in the back, and we're gonna be done and ready to go. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channel, and until the next video, bye guys.